And on another topic related to the US Refugee Program for South Africans, let's be clear yet again for probably, the 10,000th time in the past year, I do not endorse the refugee program. I'm not encouraging anyone to leave South Africa. I'm also not discouraging anyone to leave South Africa. I'm simply reporting the truth. And I have intervened to help people who are in need when possible. But I'm one person. I do have a lot of viewers who are able to help out on the ground in South Africa and some folks in America help out. We can't solve everybody's problems. And that's the purpose of this video. For refugees who've arrived in the States, whose parents or friends back in South Africa keep writing and sending distraught messages about how terrible their situation is, I would say that in 70% of the cases where that's come to me, that's been embellishment and hyperbole and an exaggeration of what's happened. People are sending messages, freaking out over situations that aren't nearly as bad as they are. That having been said, there are refugees who've arrived in what I would consider to be dodgy placement locations, particularly in New York and California, but not exclusively. Fortunately, it's still a small percentage of refugees who've come over the 1,000 plus who've now over here. Probably at this point, it's probably about 1,400 or 1,500 since they restarted January 5th. So it's a small number thus far, but the number will grow because there are refugee assistance agencies who are not doing their job properly, and I'm about to investigate one of those in Rochester, New York. Every refugee is briefed on arrival about the grievance process. If you are unhappy with what's going on, you have the ability to contact USCIS and let them know that the provider is not providing the services. So my question to the refugees and their distraught families and friends who keep contacting me, either directly or through a third party, why have you not used the grievance procedure? Why have you not contacted USCIS and told them you're not getting service? Why is your first button to push to ask me to intervene? I don't have a contract with these service providers. The U.S. government does. They have contractual obligations. This isn't South Africa where you get a BEE tender and you promise to deliver school books for kids in the Eastern Cape. You steal all the money, no school books get delivered, and there's no prosecution. This is America. If a vendor fails to deliver, and trust me, I know, I worked in defense acquisition. When they fail to deliver, they're penalized or they lose their contract. You have a grievance process. Use it. It should be your first avenue if you're unhappy. If you feel you're being treated poorly, you should reuse the grievance process. If, however, somehow you didn't get that briefing, you need to let me know. And I will ensure I get the correct information. But you have a process that's not open to me. I cannot call USCIS and file a grievance on your behalf. Not unless I become an attorney, and I'm not interested in that venue. Trust me, that affectation is not something that I want to pursue. It's boring. Use the grievance process. For the family and friends in South Africa, you are not there. You have to accept that your family members are being hyperbolic or embellishing oftentimes, which, as I said, has been the case in 70% of the things I've investigated. The Refugee Assistance Officers are paid employees for what's supposed to be a nonprofit, which is getting a contract from the United States. Their job is to provide a service to you. They should help you get your Social Security number. They should greet you at the airport. They should take you to temporary accommodation. They should provide you with refugee cash assistance. They should provide you with a means to get around or explain to you how to use transportation, teach you how to do it. They should also help you get your EID, your employment authorization document. They also should help you understand the local goings-ons, where you can go, where to shop, where thrift shops are, things like that. Is their job. That is what they get paid for. They also get paid for cultural orientation things to help you acclimate to the community that you're in. If you're not getting any of those services, you're being let down. If, however, also they should help you get enrolled in Medicaid and any other programs you're eligible for. Some states have different programs, like Michigan has this matching grant that you get. Not other states have that. They should help you with that as well. That is their job. That's what they get paid for. They are not there to hold your hand. They're not there to take your phone call at 1 o'clock in the morning because something's bothering you. They are not your counselor. They are not your boss. They are not your employee. They are not your manservant. They are there to perform a task. Some people seem to be blurring these lines, and it's very embarrassing, some of the comments I get. If you need to go to hospital on the weekend, it's not their responsibility. If on a holiday you want something, it's not their responsibility. These are actual things people have complained about to me. There's nothing I can do about that. They're not obliged to do that. However, I, having been a soldier, we sponsored new soldiers, new officers, and NCOs enlisted coming into our units of the same grade normally, and we ensure that they arrive. We have, it's not a paid position. You become a sponsor. Your job is to make sure these people know where all the facilities are and how to get around and what the ins and outs are and help them get settled. Working in an embassy, it's similar. You sponsor someone. They come in. You help them figure out what's what, who's who in the zoo at the embassy, where they need to go to get lights repaired, where they need to go to cash a check, where they need to go for this, where they need to go for that. You take them around. You show them the markets. You do all that. That's what a good sponsor does. The refugee assistance officers are not sponsors. They're paid employees with a task. It would be nice if they're sponsors. And don't get me wrong, there are some refugee assistance officers around the country who are fantastic people who give much of their time, many of them former refugees who know what it's like to be in your shoes. But there's also people that really don't give a flip. They're just employees. They get a check. They're not going to do anything beyond what they're supposed to do. You need to accept that and understand that and stop panicking. But again, there is a grievance process. Use it. Use the grievance process. It should be your first step. All right? Well, your second step. You should talk to the refugee assistance officer and say, hey, you're not giving me the assistance that I'm supposed to get legally. Can we fix this? If they blow you off, they ignore you, they're rude, contact USCIS for the grievance process. If you weren't briefed on what that process is, then something's broken, and I need to know about that. But there is a grievance process. I have tolerated and put up with this stuff for a few months now, but it's simply becoming too much of a burden to deal with people who are panicking over no reason and who have a recourse. There are genuine cases that need intervention and need light shined on them, and I'm doing that as best I can. But 70% of these complaints are not legitimate. They're simply people not following the process or overreacting. If that hurts your feelings, then you can't handle the truth. That was not directed at anybody. I didn't give anybody specific circumstance away. I didn't target anybody. If you don't like that and your feelings are hurt, that's your personal problem, not mine. These are simply the facts. I'm laying it out for you. You can listen, you can follow my advice, or you can do what you want to do. That's your choice. That's the nice thing about America. You have a choice. God bless, and have a good day.